Because it's the new year, I thought I would try some new things here on Sewing Report. So in this edition, we are kicking off the inaugural segment called Sewing Fail. Look, we all know sewing isn't always hearts and rainbows. Sometimes things just suck. And I wanted to share my latest sewing fail so that you don't make the same mistakes I did. A really long time ago, I got this awesome piece of gold lambskin from Tandy Leather, and I've been saving it for the perfect project. So I thought I would sort of get my feet wet and cut it up a little bit to make Noodlehead's Petal Pouch. I made Noodlehead's Petal Pouch before in a small size, awesome pattern, so I thought, you know what, it would be beautiful if I made this in a gold leather version. So I cut out the pieces and I cut out my lining. So for the lining, I was going to use Brambleberry Ridge's awesome woodland deer print. It has gold metallics in it. I even had a really awesome gold zipper. So I get everything cut out and I'm trying to do it, and the thing about leather is you can't pin it, obviously, because it leaves holes in it. So I thought, why not use this 1/4" leather tape from Wawak Sewing to kind of keep the seam in place on the zipper. And I was kind of taking a shortcut. I wanted to make sure that I sewed the lining and the exterior fabric to the zipper at the same time to save me a step, right? So I put this leather tape on. I used it for both the lining and the leather piece, but what I didn't realize was how much it was going to gunk up the needle. So to actually sew the pieces to the zipper went okay. The needle was a little bit sticky and there were a couple skip stitches, but you know, I thought, hey, it'll be okay. But the real problem came when I tried to top stitch the pieces. Okay, so when you're making a pouch or anything like this, you normally, turn the fabrics right side out, so you've got, exterior and then interior, and then you top stitch. But when I was top stitching, I was going directly into all the leather tape. The needle totally gunked up and it skipped pretty much all of the stitches. And you can see I really only got a few inches into top stitching before I realized I was in freaking trouble. So now there's a bunch of holes in the leather, no top stitching, and obviously I'm not going to continue with this with the other side because I would run into the same problem. So the lesson I learned is if you're working with leather and you're going to be sewing through the seam, don't use seam tape. It's much too sticky. The needle didn't even go through it. So if I was going to do this again, I would have used Elmer's glue, Elmer's washable school glue, to baste the cotton lining side to the zipper, and then I would have just used Wonder Clips to keep the leather in place instead of that tape. The tape totally ruined this project. So I don't know what to do with this now. I actually can't really get this off because the leather tape actually is very strong, and I don't know what to do with this piece. Should I cut it up and try to make something smaller, try to make maybe the smaller petal pouch out of leather? But the only problem with that is that I don't have a smaller zipper that would go with it, because this gold zipper was just so perfect. I was really excited. So I don't know what to do now, but if you have any suggestions for what I should do with this leather piece, and I also have more leather, I do think I'm going to try to make a purse, but the lesson I learned was not to use leather tape on, if you're going to be sewing a 5/8 inch seam and you put the leather tape on, it won't make a difference, but just make sure that whatever you're putting the leather tape on, you're not actually going to be sewing through that area. So, tough lesson to learn, right? I still cannot believe I didn't see that one coming from a mile away. Should have not taken the easy route. I should have just used the Wonder Clips and some Elmer's school glue. That would have been a beautiful petal pouch right now, but it's not, and I feel really depressed about that, actually. So, I've got a question for you. In the past month or so, have you had any sewing fails? Care to share them? Let's commiserate together so that I don't feel so bad. And that's why I wanted to do this segment. I'm going to be doing this regularly. It's just going to be called #SewingFail, because I think we need to do this. I don't want you to think that all my sewing projects turn out amazing and that my life is perfect and that I've got it all together, because I don't. So let's share in this together and keep it real here. Oh, and if you'd like to share your sewing fails on Instagram, let's keep the hashtag sewing fail going. So I'm going to be posting this hashtag sewing fail. So let's all get something going here. And I will see you next time for another edition of the Sewing Report.